And welcome back to another episode of The Credit Authority. Once again, I am your host, Rhonda Kulch, and we always want to thank our sponsors. So thank you so much to Equity First. If you are experiencing credit and or financial challenges, feel free to reach out to any one of their trained professionals. They are bilingual and nationwide, looking to take your call. You could reach them at 631-714-4822. And let's get our show started. So, normally I do the whole, let me bring on a mortgage professional and a realtor. And today I feel like let's bring on finance. We never talk about finance. So I have in the studio with me, not just one, but two amazing industry leaders that have two different outlooks on finance. So we're bringing on Jeff Tomosulo and Mitch Goldberg. How are you guys?
Doing well, thanks.
Doing well. But it's pretty funny out of that comment you said you very rarely bring on financial people. Isn't that a problem?
Yeah, I'm the problem.
I think that's the
Jeff,
problem.
I'm the problem. The problem is I don't want to know.
But Mitch, well, that's the thing. I went out to dinner the other day, and because the market has been getting hammered, as you want to say, or getting beat up or going down a lot, and all these people that were sitting at dinner, they didn't want to open their 401k statements, which blows my mind. And that is one of the biggest issues that I have with people is
it's fear.
It is the fear. And it's the fear that we have to even take a step back. And it's the fear that we are never taught this as kids. If you think about the way our education system is set up, we don't teach our kids how to balance a checkbook. We don't teach our in school. Now, maybe our family does, right? And we don't teach our kids how to read a balance sheet. They graduate high school and they don't even know how to do their own taxes, right? They have to hire an accountant to do their own taxes. Now, I'm a huge believer in finding experts, but the fact that we're not teaching this at a young age reinforces the fact of the fear factor of you not wanting to deal with it. I have a big problem with that.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. And I know even Mitch has been part of these conversations in the past. Professionally, I do a ton of financial literacy programs for people in high school. And the best is when my children were in high school, they would say, that's not what my mother would say, and
nice.
they would know. And it starts, I think a lot of it from, you're hitting it on the head, early education and open communication. And more importantly, not every family dynamic is built the same way. So you have some families that love to talk about either A, their wealth, or B, their lack of. So I think there's so much diversity surrounding the topic of finance and financial literacy that depending upon your audience, it could be tough.
It's a great point.
I just want to jump in here because I have a 16-year-old son, my youngest of 3. And last year, his friends, the whole group, suddenly they developed a sudden interest in crypto because it's all they hear about. The few friends that they had were trading it. They were making money. Then they were making money in NFTs. So my son said, I want to get in on this. And we talked about it. And what we did is we followed things. We just followed everything to let him know where things go. And what I see is a failure to let your kids fail. And I kind of saw that a little bit in myself, to be honest. And, the kids have to get used to what it's like having a financial loss because we protect them so much. And until you really have a loss that stings, you just don't understand risk. It's very esoteric. Well, I can tell you the stock market could go down 25, 30, 40, 50%. But until you experience the pain of that, you really don't understand risk and your own risk tolerance. And I like to say the hardest thing for any investor to know is themselves. We spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than we do planning our financial future. That's where this goes. And I think it starts at home. I'm fortunate that in my school district in Dix Hills, we do have personal finance classes, but they're kind of new and they're kind of just the kids get through school. But we're beginning to see more people come into it. We've got a whole generation of young investors who've who've burned themselves on Robinhood. Okay.
Yeah.
And they basically had to go through what my generation went through in 99 and 2000. So every generation has to go through it. And you can read about the mistakes online, but they're going to do it again because they don't really get the risk because they haven't been through it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a different view. My thing is we need to be proactive, right? And I lived through 99, and I've lived through 2008, and each situation was different, and you learn from it. And our goal for our subscribers and our students is to teach them risk management skills right off the bat, right? And I think when you sit there, because too many people, they don't invest with an edge. Right. That's my tagline is invest with an edge. Well, what is that edge? Well, one of the things, and a lot of people don't like talking about risk management because it's not sexy. Right. You know what's sexy is I bought Bitcoin at 10,000 and it went to 60,000 and I feel like I'm a millionaire. Kids, like you were saying, they love that stuff.
They get such a high,
right?
they get such a high from it.
They get the high from it. They get the thing. But what is sexy and what you have to get through everybody's mind before they start, and this is why you need to start at a young age, not to make them risk adverse, because I have kids. I'm trying to make them take as much risk as they possibly can, especially at a young age, but understanding the risk reward, right? And when you can teach people this from an early age is, hey, I want to make as much money as I possibly can on the least amount of risk. And how do I do that? And that, whether you're buying real estate, whether you're starting your own company, risk management should be the number one factor, priority, whatever you want, principle, whatever you want to do, because it was something that I learned on Wall Street from the oldest trader on the desk. Now, we were a bunch of 20-somethings at the time when I started in 1996. And he said, if you take care of your downside, the upside will take care of itself. Think about that. If you take care of your downside, the upside, no matter what the market is doing, as long as you're focused, and you know, not Mitch is right, like it has to sting a little bit, but if you have that in place beforehand, it's going to sting a lot less.
I think the problem, and I'll speak for myself as a mom with 5 kids, they're lazy. They're lazy. I think they don't want to take the risk. So what I deal with, even with my own kids, I never want to see my children be in debt. But sometimes actually being in debt puts fire in their belly. And for me, there's a big amount of growth, I think, that happens when you put fire in the belly because you've given yourself some debt.
You learn by doing is, to me, is the best way to learn. You know, my approach is a little different because we want to manage downside risk. But to me, the way I manage risk for myself, that I teach my children, for my clients, and I'm very into education. You know, I have my podcast, I have my live stream, I create a ton of content, I write for nationally recognized media outlets. And the thing to me to manage risk, every investor is different, but for my retail clients, which is basically you and me, Rhonda, is you want to manage your risk, extend your time horizon to when you need the money. You want to manage risk, be a long-term holder. We're in a bear market now. The first bear market I went into, I've been in the industry since 1990, so I've been through a bunch of these. The thing that gets people through it is their temperament, not necessarily their trading technique or their strategy. For them to manage risk by selling, I'm not saying that's what Jeff is saying, by the way. To me, the risk management is diversification and is being able to understand what you have so you can hold it through the tough times to get to the good times. Because when the market recovers, it makes successive new highs. And by the way, diversification is a strategy that we use to mitigate risk, but it doesn't necessarily protect your portfolio from a drop in the market.
So if you want to do some local business, we're going to reach out to Mitch. And if somebody was interested in learning more about your educational program, how do they find out?
They go to tacticalincome.com. And if they want to email me, they can email me at jeff@tacticalincome.com.
You got it. So you heard it here. Today is the episode all about finance. Stay tuned. We're going to be bringing on our next guest.